Everyone, this is Vaughn and Jen. Thanks for following us along in our journey. Hopefully you've watched the first trimester videos and some of the other videos that we've done on supplements and how to have a healthy diet during pregnancy. This particular video is really going to be just a summary of your kind of overall second trimester, what to expect, and also possibly some concerns that could arise and some natural ways to address those concerns. So we're really excited about obviously the second trimester, because the second trimester is, I like to consider it the honeymoon stage. It's, you know, the first trimester, like we talked about in the first video, it really is a challenge because the body's really having to adapt to all the changes that occur during pregnancy. And the liver is challenged. The liver's actually, from what we understand, even going through a little bit of a gentle cleanse, just trying to let go of some of the toxins and things so the body can actually prepare the liver for all the jobs that it has to do during pregnancy. So that kind of is one of the compounding reasons of the nausea. And obviously we talked about the cravings and the fatigue and all of that. So usually once you transition out of the first trimester and you start getting into the second trimester, some of those symptoms should really subside. Hopefully they are for you. That's really the body just starting to adapt to the changes and starting to take on its role in understanding this is where we're going to be for a little while. So you might find your energy coming back, your appetite coming back, and that's a great time. And then when you get into the third trimester, obviously the body's kind of maxing out and starting to really feel the pressure of the baby. So that can be a little uncomfortable. But the second trimester is that sweet time where you get to just, you're blossoming, you're starting to see the baby, it's starting to move. It's just a sweet time to enjoy the pregnancy. So during this time, I really want to encourage you to take advantage of your energy levels, take advantage of, the better improved appetite, really choosing healthy foods, and then also getting into a regular routine that really makes your body feel good, getting fresh air, getting outside, going for walks. This is the time to get into the routine of finding what exercise is working for you during pregnancy, because exercise is really important. In fact, we're going to do a whole entire video on exercise because that's a real passion of mine. What appropriate exercises are for pregnant women, because you do need to modify things. So anyway, so congratulations on the second trimester, and congratulations to us. We're real excited. So also, during the second trimester, obviously the body has created a lot of hormones, and the body has also created a lot more fluids and blood volume. And so there are some things that could arise in your body during the second trimester that we want to talk about. And in a healthy body that's functioning at a high level, these things may not even be a problem for you, and ideally they shouldn't be. But unfortunately, we know our culture is really not as healthy as it should be. We're coming off of a diet full of processed foods, and so some of the organs in our bodies are not optimally functioning. And so we're going to talk a little bit about those. So we have a couple that we're going to go through. Vaughn, why don't you start by just sharing your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so one of the things we say is that pregnancy will reveal a lot of health issues in women, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, God's a good designer. We trust his design. We know that things that happen in the body is the attempt of the body to heal itself and correct itself of issues. So what we call sickness and disease or a disorder or something like that is really the body trying to heal itself. And so we just want to go through a few of those situations so you can kind of understand maybe your body a little bit better, maybe understand that these things that are happening, you don't necessarily need medical intervention. There's very simple things you can do at home to correct it, because we want the mom and the baby to be as safe and healthy as possible. Unfortunately, the medical industry doesn't understand a lot of these things. I'm going to just start with a basic one, kidney. The body increases its blood volume a lot during pregnancy. They say as much as 50% increased blood volume. And now is the time in the second trimester to do things to prevent something that often happens more towards the end of the second trimester, into the third trimester, which is something called preeclampsia, which is high blood pressure. I've worked with individuals with high blood pressure for years, hundreds of people, and it's always related to kidney and fluid imbalance. And so basically what that means is that you have kidney issues and you really want to work on your kidneys, and you can do simple things. You can drink water, you can make sure you're hydrated, not drinking coffee or soda or any other beverages that'd be dehydrating, not overdoing grains and sugar, which are hard to process and digest on the body, and kind of forces the body into a retention mode where it starts to retain fluids. You can be real intentional about exercise right now, because that'll keep the fluids moving through the body and keep the body moving toxins and fluids out of the body through the kidneys. And so you don't have to have preeclampsia, these issues, or even if you've had it prior in other pregnancies, it doesn't mean you have to have it this time or that you're predisposed to it. Again, it's just revealing a weakness in your body, and because God is a good designer, he's revealing to us through the swelling, through the symptoms, through the high blood pressure, that we need to correct something in our body naturally.
Right. So another reason that you could have some swelling or fluid imbalances would be maybe even just a stagnant lymphatic system. And so we know that as the baby grows, you're going to have more pressure in the womb, more pressure on some of the venous systems that return blood flow to the upper parts of the body. And so really just, it's really important. Again, we always come back to diet, taking the burden off the liver, taking the burden off the kidneys, taking the burden off of the lymphatic system really means getting processed foods out of the diet. So high sugar, high starch, high fats that aren't healthy for you. These are things that are going to just make those organs really work sluggishly. And because of their job has already increased, it's really important to just support them as best as possible.
Jen was excited, wanted to get started on talking about the liver, because the liver is so crucial during pregnancy. We talked about that in the first trimester video about the morning sickness, the nausea, how a lot of those symptoms are the liver just cleansing and purging and trying to prepare for a healthy pregnancy. And so again, it's just revealing that liver issue that's already present within the pregnant woman. It's just that, again, pregnancy exacerbates and brings forth the revealing of some of these issues. So if you've ever heard of like cholestasis, that's common during pregnancy. And my wife, Jen, she had that, our first baby with Naomi. We didn't with Noelle because we learned about the liver and we really focused on that between pregnancies. But that first pregnancy, she had a lot of food aversions. She had the itchy skin, which is common during cholestasis.
It's horrible.
Yes, it is horrible, because what happens is the bile that's produced by the liver, if you already have liver issues or liver congestion, even if you didn't notice it maybe before a lot, but that pregnancy again creates all that extra pressure and volume on the liver. That bile starts to back up, the bilirubin backs up into the bloodstream, and you get the itchy skin, you get the jaundice, you get maybe headaches behind the eyes. These are common liver symptoms, and again, they term that cholestasis. It doesn't mean you need crazy medical intervention. It doesn't mean there's some horrible thing going on. It just means your liver's congested and you need to do something about it. So a couple easy things you can do is it's really changing your diet. It's a liver-friendly diet. Not eating tons of heavy grains and sugars, not eating too many heavy fats. Yes, we know fats are good, olives, olive oil, avocado, but not doing tons of rich foods and fried foods and too much, butter or animal fats or just heavy foods, because that weighs down the liver.
Yeah.
Now, there's some things you can do to increase bile flow, and I just want to mention those real quick because these can help you a lot if you're having this issue. And at the end, we're going to give you like the humdinger, like the big one that you can do to help you the most. But a couple things you can do for bile is carrot juice. Okay, that helps bile flow through the body. Digestive enzymes, because again, there's this bile issue. So there's one we have called orthodigestzyme by Orthomolecular. It has some ox bile in it, and that's going to help with digestion and help get that bile flowing through. Charcoal helps with that a lot. And then lemon and citrus, especially lemon in your water. It's an emulsifier, and it'll kind of help break up that bile and push it through the system. And then, so what's the best thing they could do if they chose to do it?
So if you're really struggling, and I really was struggling in my first trimester, I almost didn't even mention it because it was in the middle of winter, and sometimes your skin gets a little dry and a little itchy occasionally, and that's that can be a little bit normal for a dry winter season. But it started to get so bad, and I finally just said to Vaughn, I said, I think my skin's crawling. And he, his eyes got real big, and he was like, oh, why haven't you told me this before? And I was like, well, I was just trying to deal with it. I had no idea that this was a sign that my body was really congested and really working through. The liver was really working hard. So I actually got to the point where I was not sleeping at night, and I finally decided I needed to let my liver really decongest. And the fastest way that we knew to do that was actually through enemas. Now, we're not recommending coffee enemas, and we're not recommending, going hardcore with this. What we're just recommending is for someone who's done it before, you might put a little lemon juice in your enema or something like that. But, just really a basic warm water enema. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You could just try 1 quart, 2 quarts. If you've never done them before, we do actually have videos on our YouTube channel that talk you through how to do an enema. But and that might sound, intense, but of course talk with your midwife or your doctor about it. But really, it's such a better alternative than trying to, go through all the scares of, planning a cesarean or, inducing early, or all these things that can kind of, if the cholestasis starts in the 2nd trimester, by the 3rd trimester, you could be really facing some heavy duty decisions that maybe you could have avoided by just simply relieving the pressure on the liver and getting some of the bile flow restored. So.
And one of the main reasons we do these videos is to let you know that when these things happen, it means something. There's something you can do about it. Women, you don't have to suffer through these issues. You don't have to accept that medical mindset that this is just happens. We don't know what happens. It's happening to you. There's not much you can really do about it. Maybe they're going to give you a medication or something. You don't have to do that. You can do enemas, relieve the toxicity, and make the cholestasis go away. The other thing we didn't mention was herbs, and we actually have a tea called Gentle Liver Cleanse Tea that's designed for pregnant women. It's very safe. It's got milk thistle in it. It's got nettle in it, which is great for pregnancy, Schisandra berry, and then it also has yellow dock. And I actually did a lot of yellow dock for Jen the first trimester because it really helps with the liver. It's high in iron, so that Gentle Liver Tea is really, really good as well. So there's all kinds of great things you can do for cholestasis.
So obviously, then as you're taking action to increase the bile flow, really just take a really good look at your diet, and I've been able to adjust things over the last 2 pregnancies, where this time I haven't even felt a hint of it. And so for me, I've had to even lower some of my what you would call healthy fat intake. And for some people who are really into high fat, healthy fats, that can sound kind of contrary to the health thing that's going on right now. But the really bottom line is, if your body's not digesting it and it's causing congestion, how healthy is that for you?
Right.
Even if it is coconut oil, even if it is butter and animal fat. And so I really had to start choosing more high water content fruits and vegetables, and still included the fat, but just to allow sustenance, but not to go overboard with it, and not to just go crazy, because I was really motivated to not feel that itchy skin.
So the next topic is constipation, and during pregnancy it's common to have constipation. Progesterone increases, and that affects and slows peristalsis. And there's also, of course, the pressure that can be on the elimination organs just from the space issue, the obvious space issue. And so constipation is common. But again, diet is huge here. If you eat a typical diet of lots of bread and meat and cheese, that's a very constipating diet. White flour, white sugar, meat, cheese, these are constipating foods. They're common foods that a lot of people eat, and sometimes a lot of women even crave during pregnancy. So you need to shift that. You need to do lots of fruits and vegetables. Those are naturally high in fiber. So do fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and lean meats, and what we always promote, and you can really avoid the constipation issue. One of our favorite teas is called digestion tea, and it's a super safe, simple formula. It really has just a few herbs in it: slippery elm, marshmallow root, a little bit of licorice root, a little bit of fennel, and ginger. It tastes good. It's mucilaginous, which means the herbs are kind of slippery and they help things slide through, and it really helps with that constipation issue. So exercise, movement, walking every day. Again, this 2nd trimester, really important to take advantage of feeling better. which means you exercise, you eat right, you do things now to have a healthy birth, not slack off a little bit in your second trimester. Oh, I'm feeling good. And then the third trimester, all this stuff starts to pop up, because we can prevent all this stuff. We can prevent kidney issues, swelling, cholestasis, constipation. They don't have to happen if we take care of our bodies.
Absolutely. I would say for me, my go-to things to keep my bowels moving regularly during pregnancy is definitely drinking water. But what I add into my water, if throughout the day you could leave it in your water, you could just do it once a day, is actually apple cider vinegar. And I do that with a little bit of lemon, and the apple cider vinegar is the raw apple cider vinegar that has the probiotics, and basically that is going to help the body break down food, move food through the bowels, and it's just been great for me. And so if you can do that maybe once a day at least. Some people have an aversion to the apple cider vinegar. I think adding the lemon really helps. You could put a couple drops of stevia in there just to kind of make yourself palate it a little bit better. But that's been a huge thing. And then the other thing is just lacto-fermented vegetables. So yeah, and I know a lot of people are into kefir and some of the dairy-based fermented things, which honestly, unfortunately, they can be great for some of those who digest dairy fine, but honestly, dairy is really constipating. And so if you're doing a lot of kefir and you're not moving your bowels, you may need to really consider how much kefir you're eating a day. That was something that I was doing during my first pregnancy before we really I had to start cutting out dairy because it was just too high fat and my liver wasn't tolerating it.
Yep.
But
even though it tasted good.
Yeah, so what I did was I switched over to eating a lot of sauerkraut and other fermented vegetables that if you get that in your diet once a day, I guarantee you will find yourself nice and regular, along with walking. Those are my favorites.
So the last one we want to mention is gestational diabetes. So this one's interesting because a lot of times women don't know they have a blood sugar issue or even potential of a diabetes issue. So they get pregnant, they're diagnosed with gestational diabetes. How could that possibly happen? Well, again, God's a good designer. The body's trying to heal itself. The body's revealing that it already had a blood sugar issue, it already had a pancreas issue, and again, it's a diet issue mainly. I mean, if you're seeing a trend here, we hope it's sinking in that it's so important what you eat before and during pregnancy is healthier for you and the baby. It matters. It helps prevent all these issues that send a lot of women to the hospitals and get unnecessary procedures doing. So it's like we can't just stress that enough. Like what you eat matters. It's like crucially important to health and life and God and the way He designed the earth and us to function and to bring forth life. So gestational diabetes can be a serious issue. And so it is a blood sugar issue. It's not really just a blood sugar issue. It's an insulin issue, which is what diabetes is, an insulin issue. But what happens during pregnancy is interesting. The body decreases insulin a little bit to allow more sugar to be circulating in the bloodstream for mom and baby. So what that tells me is that because God designed that to happen naturally in the body, that tells me it is abnormal for us to be eating all day, every day, tons of bread and pasta and pizza and crackers and baked goods and all this processed grains and sugary and starchy carbohydrates. That's not normal to eat all those foods all the time in excess. And so what will happen is if your insulin naturally is lowering because of pregnancy anyway, and you're eating lots of those foods, you have an insulin problem. You can't properly absorb and digest and process all those sugars and carbohydrates. Your blood sugars are going to spike and it's going to send you into a diabetic type of a state. So what you need to do is you need to make fruit your sweet. Make fruit your best friend. Jen craved pineapple and fruits and stuff like that. We don't do breads and things like that. We know we'll never have a concern or an issue or have to worry about gestational diabetes because we don't eat the grains and the sugars that can lead to that insulin response that can be a problem. So make fruit your sweet. That's probably the best thing you can do. And then just choose a few whole grains in moderation. We really don't at all promote eating lots of grains, starchy bread, pasta, pizza stuff. But if you do a little quinoa here and there, you do a little wild rice or brown rice here and there, you do some buckwheat on occasion.
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes. And those starches can be beneficial, but again, overdoing lots of bread and starchy grains can lead to an insulin problem and a diabetes issue. So you can avoid
Especially
that.
if you've had it prior to. I mean, well, obviously this is revealing an issue, but if you knew you had an issue, then, related to your pancreas and insulin production, this is definitely not the time to overdo any of the carbohydrates in high form.
And to make a final point about this is, a lot of this comes down to digestion, so it comes down to what we eat. So basically the wrong foods and too much of these foods and predisposed to these issues, you're putting so much extra stress on the pancreas, on the liver. That's what's leading to these quote unquote imbalances or issues. It's the excess of food, the challenge of the body to try to digest it while it's really trying to focus on making a baby.
Right.
And keep you healthy. That should be the focus, not food. Food, we put too much focus on food. The body's saying, hey, I'm trying to work on a baby here. Like, don't overstress me and overwhelm me.
Yeah.
So I can do what God designed me to do. So again, fruits, vegetables, just keep it light, keep it simple, lean, quality meats, get your protein, but get good quality sources.
Yeah.
Eat some nuts and seeds, have some healthy fats and some healthy proteins, just keep it simple.
And then exercise, obviously.
And exercise, yes, of course.
I know we've said that multiple times. Have you not found the trend here? Isn't it amazing that, we obviously, Spirit of Health, we trumpet healthy eating, but we really do believe in the movement of the body and how healing that is.
Amen.
And so like I said, we'll go into a deeper video on that. But just walking can really help you keep your blood sugars balanced.
Don't underestimate walking. So a couple other things you can do for your blood sugars on a final note is extra B vitamins really help with the function of the pancreas and help with blood sugar regulation. Chromium is a mineral. So we love minerals. We did a video on supplements, but you can do some extra chromium because that really helps get the sugar into the cells and helps the insulin work more efficiently. And so those are just a couple little tricks of things you can do, and then really support your liver. Support digestion, do the digestion tea, support your liver, do things that help your liver function, help the digestion to run smoother, and that's what's going to eliminate a lot of these issues that we just discussed.
Absolutely. So hopefully this video helped you navigate some of the different things that could arise during your second trimester, and just really to kind of change that mindset that pregnancy causes disease or something like that, because really it's not the pregnancy that's causing the disease. It's pregnancy just revealing what's laying underneath in the organs already, and it's just kind of making the body vulnerable to some of those issues that could arise in an unhealthy body. And so, if you're working on right now maybe getting pregnant, this would be a great time to start addressing some of those issues so that they don't become a problem during your pregnancy. So thanks for joining us.
Amen,
and
amen.
We hope that you follow us along to the third trimester and
Onward and upward.
and keep up with some of the upcoming videos we'll be having, as well as joining our Spirit of Health Moms group. We have a little moms group going on Facebook that we're just starting up, and just love to have a place for moms who are interested in health and interested in getting more natural ideas for helping them have healthy babies. So join us, and look forward to sharing with you more soon.
So God bless you. We look forward to more arrows in the quiver for all of us. We need to bring forth some healthy children. So we're honored if this video helps you and can be a part of your journey. God bless.